welcome to our project. I'm Liz Jones.
I'm Gordon Jones.
We're here to tell you about our new purchase, which is Sigginstown Castle in Tecumseh, County Wexford in Ireland. So you see before you a model. This is how we work on the castle here, or at least conceptually, because all the time during our purchase we were not able to be there looking at all the rocks and the stones, and so we built this model towards the end of the purchase process so that we could look at it and think about it and make it more real from where we live today. So where we live today is
Southbury, Connecticut. We've been here almost 20 years. Decided that maybe we would want someplace a bit more exotic, adventurous, different to retire to, and we decided that Ireland maybe was the best of all possible worlds. They do speak English in Ireland, and they do have castles, which is something that we're all very interested in, being history buffs. The fact that there are tower houses, castles, and historical buildings for sale in Ireland.
So we bought this one. It was the end of about a 3 or 4 year period that we ended up actually buying this. It's in, like I said, Tecumseh. Tecumseh's a very small area. There's only 17 or 18 houses. If we eventually renovate this place, as you can see, there are no windows, doors, roofs, electricity, plumbing, or anything else. So we hope to be the 18th house, habitable house in the area. So what we wanted in the castle was something that was not too remote. We wanted an area where we could participate in culture and music. Certainly we both play music. Gordon has been singing for about 30 years, so we wanted to be able to visit pubs and so on. We wanted to have a functional building that wasn't too crumbly. And I was interested in getting a slightly more crumbly state because I felt like they were such a good bargain. And Gordon was not of the same mind.
Not at all. And I wanted something of a more stable nature upon which to build. We were looking at some that were almost literally piles of rocks.
So we didn't want to buy a castle that was already done up. People will say that. We decided that the journey was part of the whole experience, and so as much as it's less risky to probably put your money into something that's functional, that has electricity, that has plumbing, etc., we just didn't feel like that was the road we wanted to take. And we realized close to the end of this that we could learn so much with other people. We could also have people participate in these projects as we were doing them. So we bought a ruin intentionally. It wouldn't have been bad if it had a roof. We weren't against roofs and doors and windows, but certainly the journey was part of it.
Oh yes, the journey was definitely part of it, and that's kind of one of the aspects that made me a bit nervous. Aware of the financial limitations that we have as a couple, and Elizabeth in her endless enthusiasm and effusive optimism has, in my opinion, sometimes lost track of the financial aspect of it. This in light of the fact that she also has a much better head for numbers than I do. What else?
Well, the features of the castle, by the time we got to Sigginstown, we had looked at several different castles, and most of them were just tower houses. So when we got to Sigginstown and we saw this building that had an additional entire house attached, and then an additional, at least part of an agricultural building, that was really thrilling because it meant that we could live in the ground level, especially as we get older. It's less and less appealing to climb up very steep spiral staircases. So when we saw that attached house in the outbuilding, that was definitely it. We knew that that was a great opportunity for us.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities and a lot of options that we would not have otherwise. They're very restricted about what you can do to it. We decided on Ireland for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's probably one of the safer countries that we considered in the past. Also, they speak English in Ireland, but they also speak Gaelic, which appealed to Elizabeth because she is a linguist in the family. The music aspect of Ireland was probably one of the big things for me. I played Irish music for many years, and It is something that I find a great deal of satisfaction and joy in. And needless to say, there's plenty of Irish music in Ireland.
Yeah, so I wanted to live originally in some warmer climates, and I tried to convince Gordon about the Mediterranean, about Mexico. He was having none of it. And so I finally realized that if I wanted to live abroad at all, it was going to be Ireland. And once we started talking about castles, my interest picked up quite a bit. So about 3 or 4 years ago, we went on a trip with some friends. We went to our first castle as a real tour kind of thing, and started climbing around in them for the next about 3 or 4 years. Here you see about you some of our hobbies, and we've been in a group called the Society for Creative Anachronism for the last 30 years. So these are some of our hobbies, just the easier ones to transport. We have a big, massive tent that's not so easy to show here. So I do a lot of costuming. This is actually Italian Renaissance costuming, so I will have to learn a lot more about Irish clothing, switch over from Italian. And Gordon has been doing armoring.
Armoring, and the SCA also has many different kinds of combat. The kind that I was interested in involved a lot of armor, as this piece here illustrates. I did not make this piece, I bought this piece. But I still enjoy talking to other people about it, watching it, researching it, etc., etc.
So we have a lot of friends who do historical study, reenactment, anything from Viking age, actually even before that onwards to Elizabethan, and owning a 15th century tower is our dream come true, because we get to play in it and do all those kinds of historical events in that place. Well, it's a massive project. This is even more perilous than building a regular house, which is what we did about 20 years ago. So financial concerns are absolutely paramount. We have budgeted a fair amount for this project, although nowhere near what people want us to do. People would be much happier if we had $1 million or $2 million to spend on this, and we don't. So we have to be a lot more creative and a lot of management on our money and then the scope of the project.
Yes, and the biggest war cry that I can think of is that I do not want to be eating cat food at the end of my life, because we've taken on a project that is way beyond what we had anticipated. So the cry is no cat food.
That's our motto, no cat food.
Right.
The other concern we have is that we're going to have to split our time for the next few years to get this done. So we've decided that since Gordon works part-time and I work full-time, he's going to go over to Ireland probably in the summers or in the building season and hopefully work on the construction. I will stay here for the next 2 or 3 years. So the other big risk on the project and concern is that we need to get planning permissions for this. It's a listed monument, it's a historical monument in Ireland, so we have to apply for any number of permissions at the local level and also at the national level. And unfortunately, that's not something you can guarantee ahead of time. It depends on what we want to do to it. Everything has to be to a certain level of conservation practices, and those practices keep changing as legislation in Ireland evolves. So it's going to be a very interesting journey that we go on, and there is a lot of risk to it. But, you know, it's an adventure.
You only go around once, so make it a good one.
So we are thanking you for your attention today for our little project, our long project. That's our dog squeaking in the background. So hopefully you can hear us over this. You can look us up on Facebook. We'll be working on this for probably the next 3 to 5 years or the rest of our lives.
The rest of our lives, probably.
And you'll see us over in Ireland, probably in some future videos. But right now, if you want to see what's going on with it, you can find us at sigginstowncastle.com with no dash in between, or on Facebook at Sigginstown Castle. And we'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, you can email us also at sigginstown@earthlink.net. And hopefully you can hear us over the squeaking dogs. Thanks very much.
Hello, I'm the cameraman and the offspring / spawn of the 2 people you just saw. And they wanted me to talk about my concerns, which are not concerns so much as vehement opposition to the whole enterprise, considering that the place has no plumbing, it doesn't have a roof, it's made out of rocks, old ones, probably degraded in a lot of places. And I'm standing in a modern home with all the modern conveniences right now. They want to move to that joint. Illogical, says I.
I'm really excited about this opportunity for my parents, and I'm excited to go see it. I think it's a really cool experience for the whole family, and I'm really happy for them.
When do you want to go?
Hopefully this summer and during construction process.
Where would you like to live in the castle?
At the top.
You want to live in the top?
Yeah.
Are you going to be a princess?
No, Mom. And I know you're recording.
Well,
I'm walking away now.
That's it. That's going to stay on. That's a take.